Hey everybody, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming News. Appetizers for today. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy didn't hit the sales expectations that Square-Enix was hoping for. Article with Game Informer. Square-Enix has released some financial results for the first three quarters of fiscal year 22-23. Essentially, what they are saying, Square-Enix revealed that the Guardians of the Galaxies didn't hit what they were anticipating, especially considering the prior year they released Final Fantasy VII and Marvel's Avengers on the new consoles that were released. The game had excellent reviews all around from everything that I've read and the reviews that we gave it ourselves. We all, I think, agreed here that this game was really damn good. So for thoughts, shock, and awe, let's go to Pat and find out Pat's take on this news here. Pat.
Well, we knew that was going to come along, right? They gave all their fans, all the fans got gun shy after that Avengers game came out. and I will admit, when I saw the trailers for this one, I'm like, nope, this game doesn't look that great. It's not that good. It can't be that good. It looked kind of bad and blah. And I will admit, I loved it. Played it, loved it, beat it, Couldn't get that damn refrigerator to stay shut for the life of me on the ship, So, somebody kept stuffing Rocket or something in there. I don't know. But it was a great game. And I do think that people are just gun shy because of that whole Avengers crap that they put out. That was just pretty horrible. Like we've said, we can make any co-op game fun, and that one was fun co-op, but it was just kind of just meh. It was just meh overall. So I think a lot of people were just scared to buy anything new, but I don't know. People are probably about superheroed out, I would imagine too. We're probably getting to that point where everybody is like, I'm ready for something outside of superheroes. We've not had a whole lot of superhero-ish stuff come out in a while, Disney's been bombarding everybody with Star Wars stuff again, so we're all getting back in the swing of that. And some classic stuff like Dune and stuff like that's been coming out in the movies. I don't know what they're going to do in video games, but I think particularly that movie video games don't often do that well anyway. Very rarely do movie video games do so well. I kind of wonder what Square Enix's expectations were. I wonder if they just set them too high thinking it's Marvel's. Everybody loves Marvel, except for they just didn't take into account that the Avengers game was garbage, and now people are just over the whole superhero thing a little bit. They're getting to the end of it. I think we're on the bottom, the downturn of that curve. And what about you, Nick?
Yeah, I agree that the Avengers sales didn't help. That put a sour taste in everyone's mouth, and basically, looking at Guardians, they probably thinking, I'm going to pass on this, which is unfortunate because I think Guardians was a great game. I agree with you on that. It was a fantastic game, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy so much the Avengers game, but I loved the Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought it was a great single-player campaign story that was a lot of fun. And for those, unfortunately for those who didn't play it, they really missed out on a good game, right? And a good game in the Marvel universe, right? A lot of people are looking for those types of games and was hoping that Avengers would be that, and it wasn't. And the Guardians of the Galaxy was the game they were looking for, right? And then unfortunately, it seems like a lot of people passed on it when, they missed out on on what they were looking for in the first place. So it's unfortunate, in this, what does this mean for it? Does that mean we're not going, the studio that did Guardians of the Galaxy, are they not going to make another Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or some other game in the Marvel universe? Because I would say, if Square Enix is going to make more Marvel games, I want this company to make them and make more like it, because I thought they did a really great job compared to those who did, compared to Crystal Dynamics, who did Avengers, which I love Crystal Dynamics when it comes to their Tomb Raider series and stuff, but Avengers was just all over the place. And I just don't think for Avengers they had any sort of like idea of where to really go with that. They had like all these ideas spread out there, and they was like, let's do them all. And that didn't really work. So, they were kind of trying to turn it into like a MMO light or like a Destiny type game, which it did not work out that way, right? But this, and really when you have, I mean, I can understand them wanting to do a co-op game, but when you have Marvel and you have these superhero characters, I think a single player story driven game makes more sense than a co-op fashion. Now co-op fashion could definitely work, but in that case I would think more of like the MMOs back in the day, like Champions Online or City of Heroes and things like that, taking
Marvel
that Marvel
Alliance.
into that, Marvel Alliance, taking it into that direction more than some sort of like Destiny loot dungeon crawler system that they were trying to go with that really didn't pan out for them. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to see that with these bad sales, what is Square Enix going to do about it? Are they going to say, well, sorry, you tried and you failed? And I don't know, to us gamers that did play it, for most of us gamers that played it and critics, we think it was a success. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the future with it. What about you, Shane?
I think it's heartbreaking because just like Pat, I saw the trailer. I think that was the E3, wasn't it, Pat? Or Gamescom, one of those. And it was like, you were the only one with like any remote optimism towards it.
Me, the guy that barely watches Marvel or movies in general, I'm like, hey, that looks really good. And you guys are like, that looks like crap. I'm like, okay.
So, and it turned out fantastic. I mean, we all loved it. It had great writing. The voice actors took a little bit to get used to because it's not what we're used to hearing, but they nailed it. Each one was perfect for their role. The gameplay was just fantastic, except for I had a problem with Star-Lord. Always seemed to be the weakest of the group to me, but the game was just, they nailed it. Could they do better in areas? Oh yeah, but this game was fantastic, worth every second I put into it and every penny I put into it. And if you have not played it, you have got to give it a chance. You really do, because you're missing out on just a great time. You really are. I don't, like you said, Nick, I don't know what Square Enix was expecting, but if they were expecting Avengers sales, they let themselves down because that was their own fault. Because they should have known Avengers sucked and it was going to affect the sales. Because, like Pat said, nobody wants to get shot in the face twice. And that's what the first Avengers was. It was a blast to the face. And, everybody was just worried about getting another round of the face when Guardians came out. And because of that fear, the game didn't get the sales that they wanted. But the game deserves the sales because that game is fantastic. Even if you're not a Marvel fan or a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, Nick's not a big Marvel guy. I mean, he thought Captain America was, hot, but that's about it, and and he doesn't know the lore and the characters.
I like the suit.
Yeah, it's a nice suit. That's America's ass. You'll know the reference if you watch the movies. But even he loved it. Non-Marvel fans love this game. So I don't want the sales to affect it. A sequel. I think Nick is absolutely right. They're going to make another Marvel game of any kind. I want this team on board. I really do. The art style they chose, the storyline, everything they did was really, really freaking good. And that little refrigerator door thing, that was just such an annoying little thing because you could not stop. You could not walk by without stopping to try to close the damn door. So it had great little touches and character designs and everything about it. So it does break my heart if they decide not to further pursue any sequels to this, because there's lots they could do with the Guardians. They really could. And they don't have to stick with that same formulaic stuff. Let them try new things too, like a Marvel's Ultimate Alliance kind of thing would be great. I'd love another RPG like that. So
yeah, I can't believe Square Enix just didn't see the writing on the wall with that. They should have known, gamers aren't stupid. We know that they own Crystal Dynamics, and we know they put out freaking the Avengers game, and everybody's like, you know, in my opinion, that was the wrong studio. They make great single player games and stuff like that, but throw them into a multiplayer situation, their probably heads were spinning like, where do I go with this? And like Nick was saying, they were all over the place. And you know, and then you throw something like you throw the Guardians of the Galaxy's game at Eidos, you know, and let them do their thing. And you know, Eidos makes great single player games and stuff, so they did great. But Square Enix should have known they were going to run into some problems because they put out a really crappy Marvel game already, and people were like, "Is this going to be the more of the same?" And I think that just, and I don't know, they were just shooting this. They were shooting too high. They were like, "We want the moon," you know, and the gamers were like, "I'm a little worried about you guys right now." So
yeah, they shouldn't have went the multiplayer route with Avengers because they are not known for multiplayer people. They're just not. And if they wanted to pursue that route, they should have went with a different developer. Plain and simple. I mean, Nick's absolutely right. The Marvel games can do co-op. I can see them as a co-op thing. I can see them do co-op in many different ways. But the problem is that the people that developed the Avengers are not co-op people. They're not multiplayer people. You know, they're story-driven, linear-focused, you know, developers. They should have brought at least somebody in to, you know, hold their hands through this and give them ideals and stuff like that. So, but, you know, also it was just, you know, Marvel was nearing its peak, the end there, and they wanted to milk that cash cow. So they didn't think about it and they didn't care about it. Eidos, you know, they cared about what they were doing and you could tell the difference.
yeah, I don't know.
And with Avengers, they could have done multiplayer, right? I think one of the big problems with Avengers is they tried to turn it into games as a service, right? And that was the biggest mistake. Like, make a single player, not single player. It doesn't have to be single player. Make it multiplayer if you'd like. But just a story arced game that goes from mission to mission or level to level, where you get to play with your other buddies as Marvel characters and just transition through the traverse through the storyline, right? Just doing these missions and big set pieces and stuff like that, and cameos from villains and various things like that coming in as you're going through this big overarching story. And that would have been awesome and people would have really enjoyed it. But they tried to turn Marvel into a game as a service, a live service game. And for Marvel, for that game, for the Avengers, it just didn't work, right? It just doesn't work for that, right? You have to have those games, you know, those games as a service to begin with are hard to get off the ground and stay afloat. We've seen many games as a service come around and just die off because they can't keep the audience, right? There's only a few, like, you know, a good example of one that has stayed strong is Destiny. But, you know, you try to think of other ones that have followed suit. There's not a lot that have gone down the lane of Destiny. Destiny's been as successful games as a service, and there has been others, but a lot of them
Thieves
don't.
is working on their 6th year.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves is another good.
That's the only other one I could name. I mean, really, Sea of Thieves and Destiny. Outriders is what?
But they're kind of floundering.
About a year.
They're floundering.
Yeah, they're floundering a bit. Yeah.
But don't get us wrong. Though, that was still a really good game. Outriders was surprisingly a really good game. We really enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect by any means, but it was enjoyable. As a
and how about one of the longest running games of service that just needs to die, and that's Grand Theft Auto Online. That didn't start out as a games of service game, but it sure as hell is there.
The online can stay. I don't care. I just want a new single player. So
yeah, I think original ideas, not with like with games of service, and what I mean by that is like original characters and original set pieces seem to work better for that than trying to take some sort of license and apply it to that. Because when you think of Avengers and you think of these things, you think of the story, right? This overarching story or this storied type game. Now, not saying the Avengers Marvel doesn't have a story, but it's more focused on go out and get this nice get the glowy stuff that makes you look cool. Or I guess you don't really change the look of your character, but makes your character stronger. Like go out there and get the purples and the greens and there's the legendaries out there and stuff like that. And that's what it's focused on, is focused on you going out there for the best gear more than trying to tell a story that your friends can play with you through.
Well,
loot shooters.
A loot shooter, yeah.
The biggest issue with Guardians was Square Enix. Miles Morales sold fantastic. Spider-Man sold fantastic. The new ones, even the Wolverine game they're going to be making, is going to sell fantastic because it's not Square Enix. Square Enix burnt the bridge. And it's going to be hard for them to put it back. Just like the Star Wars games. EA has burnt that bridge. Are they going to be able to build that back? Or is it just going to fall to another developer to, bring us that quality game that we want for Star Wars World?
Well, I mean, the only thing about EA and Star Wars is they did kind of tape that bridge back up a little bit with what was the last one that they're making the sequel to?
Shoot.
The Jedi
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order, yeah.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order was a great game, right? And after crappy EA Star Wars games, that and the Squadrons, which was a pretty good shooter, didn't have a lot of cooperatively. It didn't have a lot of meat to it, but it was a good idea, right? And they could really expand on that. And then Fallen Order, they're making a sequel to, which Fallen Order I thought was great. So they kind of duct taped it a little bit back together.
Well, they had to, right? Because they were getting that franchise pulled out of their hands. They were like, "Oh, you guys lost exclusive rights to it now."
Yeah. But who did Fallen Order? That was Respawn, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Which Respawn, they're a team on their own. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm just waiting for them to do Titanfall 3. Come on.
Yes, definitely. So if it's in the right hands, it can be great. If it's not in the right hands, it's Marvel's Avengers. So we know what happened. You guys got anything else? Because now I just want to watch Black Panther. I like Black Panther. Sorry.
No, that is coming to Marvel Avengers, though, or it did already. I can't remember.
Before we go, did Spider-Man ever release the Spider-Man's character on the PlayStation? Did it ever come out?
I don't know.
Yeah, that shows you how much we gave a shit. So, all right. Well, thank you for listening, and to all the new subscribers that came up this week. We greatly appreciate it. If you have any comments, questions, concerns about Marvel or anything like that, just let us know. We appreciate all the feedback you give us. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, and we will see you next time. See ya.